Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, with Easter right around the corner, I think it's time to look at another episode where Clover is a central character in Princess Sofia's TV series. If you may recall, I previously blogged Blue Ribbon Bunny and Finding Clover last year, and before I ever started this memory lane, I blogged The Great Pretender back in 2017 and A Hero for the Hoodwings back in 2018. However, by looking at the list of Season 2 episodes, there's only one episode from that season that focuses on Sofia's bunny friend. But is it any good in my eyes? Well, let's find out. Airing on television on March 27th, 2015, this is Clover Time. Now, let's get started. In this episode, Clover's wear-in gets flooded, and Sofia invites him to stay with her in her bedroom, which starts out great at first, but then it causes friction in their friendship when they realize that they both have different habits. Now, what are my thoughts on this episode? Well, to me, this episode is actually pretty good. Not great, but yeah, pretty good. And to further explain why I think so, let's move on to Mustang notes. Now, the moral of this episode is always be a good host and a good guest, which is another lesson that I've known about ever since my childhood. Plus, this was one of 3 episodes that aired on March 27, 2015. As for the animation, well, as usual, Toei on CGI is excellent. However, there's one goof that I should point out. You see, while doing cannonballs, feathers come out from inside Clover's and Sofia's beds, which in reality, the beds do not have feathers in them. Anyway, one of the reasons why I like this episode is, like a few previous episodes, it focuses on Sofia and Clover's relationship. And in my eyes, the episode's plot is pretty similar to my current experience, due to me still living with my parents and my sister. And believe me when I say that they have several habits that really irritate me at times, like playing loud instruments, never cleaning up after themselves, long obnoxious conversations, and other things. Another thing that I like in this episode is the appearances of several animal characters. Aside from Mia, Robin, Whatnot, and Rex, we get to see the Woodchunks, whom were previously in the Leaf Song Festival, Winter's Goldfinch Feathers, whom was frozen prior to Winter's gift, the Swans, Ralph and Portia from Tea for Too Many, along with James' baboon, Frito, and Amber's peacock, Praline. And now let's talk about the episode's song, Hoppin' Out With You, sung by Sofia and Clover, where they become excited about becoming roommates, and the amount of fun they're gonna have. To me, this song is equally as fun as Blue Ribbon Bunny, and to me, it has such great rhythm that it makes me want to dance along with it. Also to note, this song is pretty similar to the Royal Fun song from For the Crowd, due to the episode's version being shorter than the soundtrack version. And now let's move on to the characters and the voice actors. Princess Sofia is voiced by Ariel Winter, whom was young Kairi in the Kingdom Hearts games, Marina in Jake and the Neverland Pirates, young Trixie in Speed Racer, Marlene in the complete version of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, Penny Peterson in DreamWorks' Mr. Peabody and Sherman, and Smurf Lily from Smurfs The Lost Village. In my eyes, while Sofia is normally a kind and compassionate princess, during this episode, with Bryce Twigley coming to the castle to paint portraits of every room, she does share a strict and perfectionist personality, where she gives Clover some roommate rules, and she wants to make things work out between the two of them, as well as have her room look nice for Mr. Twigley. Speaking of which, I thought the sweetest moment in this episode was when Twigley paints Sofia and Clover together. Our main character, Clover, is voiced by Wayne Brady, whom was in Clifford's Really Big Movie, Stuart Little 3, and Food Fight. As usual, Clover is such a great character, and I really love his laid-back, fun, and obnoxious personality. Also, I thought the part where his rabbit hole got flooded due to the rain was a very sad moment, especially the part where Whatnot boots him out of his hollow. However, during this episode, Clover can be a really loud snorer, which kind of makes me think of my dad when he snores. Also, Clover can be a really wild party animal and a freeloading slob at times. But on the other hand, I really like the part where Clover gave Sofia earmuffs for his snoring. Another character to talk about is Sofia's sister, Princess Amber, voiced by Darcy Rose Byers, whom was in Desperate Housewives, Big Shot, The Legend of Korra, and Spirit Riding Free. To me, Amber's role in this episode is very interesting due to her being into astronomy and discovering a star, which kind of makes me think of Deep Impact. And after trying to find it in her star charts, she names the new star Amberina Major. Rounding out the cast is Master Irwin, the astronomer, voiced by Keith Ferguson, and Bryce Twigley, the famous artist, voiced by Mick Wingert. And now let's move on to my final words. Overall, Clover Time was a pretty decent episode. The animation is great as always. The plot was pretty relatable. Sofia and Clover's relationship is really adorable and sweet. Amber's role in this episode was a funny subplot. The episode's song was a lot of fun, and the moral of being more mindful and considerate of others is a nice lesson to learn from. So, I give this episode a 95% out of 100. Well, that's all for now. Join me next time where I share my thoughts on an underrated Easter special from Rankin Bass, Mustang Power.